Welcome back to it, guys, your Friday edition of the Now Morning Show, where we are giving you things to add to your calendar. This time around, we're talking Harmony in Heritage, a benefits event happening on October 12th at Napa. And to tell me more about it, I'm joined by Chief Ricardo Barrett Hernandez, the Chief of the Santa Rosa First People community. Good morning, Chief, and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you.
A pleasure to have you, because we are getting ready for this event that is carded to, well, be a noble endeavor, as you guys describe it, to promote economic growth and cultural preservation. Tell me a little bit as to the specifics as to why it is so important to begin these sorts of celebrations, or continue.
Well, thank you so very much for the opportunity to share with the rest of the society the plans for this year's First Peoples Heritage. As you know, October 14th is our day of recognition every year, and we have a week of activities surrounding that. The benefit event is just one item in the week of activities.
Okay.
And this is carded for the 12th of October, Thursday the 12th of October at Napa. And it was supposed to be about 3 years ago, but of course the pandemic threw it off. This event is under the patronage of Her Excellency Christine Kangaloo, President of the Republic. And it is an event put together to unveil the plans that we have for our heritage village. As you know, 25 acres of land was made available to us by government. And we intend to develop that space into a heritage site, preserving the heritage in all its forms of our First Peoples. And to do it, we need corporate Trinidad and Tobago. We already have some assistance from government, but they cannot do it all by themselves. So this is what this event is about.
How does it take shape? Are we looking at a concert? Are we looking at a conference? What will actually be happening at Napa?
Okay, it's a program and it's twofold. The first part will be a formal part where you're going to have speeches, where you're going to have some cultural displays from the First Peoples.
Of course.
And of course, with an address by Her Excellency. And that is the formal part. And the second part to it is going to have some entertainment. So we're going to have, you know, all that we have in Trinidad, Parang. We're going to have performances by our First Peoples. We're going to have some soca, some calypso, and it's going to be a mix. So this is the form it will take.
So this is open to the public in terms of getting tickets coming in to attend?
Yes, it is.
How much are we looking at? When
well, the tickets are not on sale. Initially, we thought of selling tickets, but that changed along the way in the planning. So it is open, but it is by invitation. You must have a ticket, however, to enter. And, you know, there are selected people with invitations for special purpose, of course. And for the rest of the public, the general public, they can obtain a ticket, which will be made available at the box office at Napa and from Santa Rosa First Peoples community.
Sounds good.
Yes.
Now, you mentioned that this is just one of a number of events that are happening along that week.
Yes.
What other types of events can we look forward to?
Well, some of the traditional things that we have been doing on the 9th of October, for instance, we have our water ceremony. And this will take place on the Blanchisseuse Road at the 4-mile mark at the Arima River, where we revere the water as an important element of life and nature itself. As you know, First People's spirituality is based on nature. And we have some contingents, indigenous coming from Dominica, Suriname, Guyana, Canada. They will join with us, and we will have that ceremony. And Thursday the 12th, of course, is used to be Columbus Day, but we are out with that. So now it is, even some of the Spanish countries, Latin American countries look at it, especially Venezuela, as the Day of Resistance. So we're going to have the wreath laying ceremony at the Red House. As you know, there is a mark there because of the burial of most of the indigenous peoples on that site. In the morning, it's going to be a simple ceremony this year because in the evening, we have this big event at Napa.
Of course.
So at the evening, 6:30 will be the event at Napa. On Saturday, the 14th, is the actual day of recognition. So we'll be in Arima, the monument of High Arima, with our smoke ceremony and other cultural offerings. And Sunday, the 15th, we're going to have a session on spirituality at the headquarters of the Santa Rosa First Peoples community in Arima on Paul Mitchell Street.
A lot of enlightenment, a lot of emphasis being placed in the right areas. But if you were to say something to the community outside of the First People, that is, giving them a sense of what value the First People represent in our society, what would that be?
Well, I would say that we must never forget that the foundation of this country was laid by our first peoples. Many of the roads that we traverse today, of course, it has been developed from the original tracks made by the first peoples into what it is today, was the work, sweat, tears, and blood of our first peoples. We must never forget that. Even our parliament that sits to debate and make laws for the governance of the country sits on the remains of our first peoples. They made their contribution. The economy at the time was agriculture, and they made a significant contribution in agriculture. Most of our local foods have derived from the staples of the first peoples. And so many people in our country, and they're not aware of it, have running in their veins the blood of the first peoples. So that, you know, while we have different ethnicities coming to the country post-Columbus and so on, we must not forget that. We cannot forget that. We cannot forget where we came from. That makes us who we are today and where we're heading for the future. The contribution is enormous of the first peoples. We don't have the time to explore all of it, but it is something that if we are true of every creed and race finds an equal place, as our national anthem says, then we must respect and give that rightful and equal place to our first peoples.
And in that case, I am so thrilled to have had you this morning to reiterate that beautiful message to the nation this morning, Chief. Yes. We thank you for your presence. Wish you the best of luck with your celebrations. It's going to be a packed week.
Yes.
And hopefully we'll be able to check with you over that time to get updates. But for now, we are heading to Napa on the 12th as we are getting ready for Harmony in Heritage, a benefit event of the first people of Trinidad and Tobago. Joining me this morning was the Chief Ricardo Barrett Hernandez, the Chief of the Santa Rosa First People community, to give us a little insight. And for your presence, sir, we thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Guys, we will come back with even more events you want to add to your calendar, some of which we might give away tickets for. So stay tuned. We have more after the break here on the Now Morning Show.
Some say we lost in a fog.